out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of the Pest Geek podcast. I am your host, Frank Hernandez, here every day discussing all things pest. And I want to remind everybody to join the Pest Geek Society. Join the revolution of what's happening in the pest control industry. Join us on Facebook, Pest Geek Podcast Listeners Group. We're also on Twitter. We're on YouTube, pestgeekpodcast.com. Join us. Join in on the conversation. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you need to be more successful. Contribute, engage. And now here's Jeff McGovern with today's topic.
Thank you very much, Frank. This is Jeff McGovern, the Pest Coach. And I was just out in the field with a PMP from North Florida, and we were working with a new foamer, and I got to thinking, maybe I need to talk a little bit about foam. There are different types of equipment we can do it with, and we have so many new tools to use foam with right now that it really needs to become part of everything we do, particularly with restaurant type work, because there's so many problems we can solve if we have a different method of putting product into the zones that the insects are inhabiting. So to look at the units themselves, to look at foamers, I think the most expensive or the most premium foam unit that's commonly available right now would probably be the nicest unit, the PowerCart 2000. The PowerCart 2000 is a beautiful foaming system. You've got a 2-gallon tank, it's on a cart, it has a motor hooked up to it, it's electrically powered, and it keeps the unit pressurized all the time so that you can power it up. You've got it full of foaming agent and the type of mixture that you may want to use on that particular account. And you can hit the switch, and as soon as the pressure starts to drop in the tank below where it can push the foam properly, it'll turn on, it'll run, and it'll pump that unit back up. So you can work continuously within the length of the hose until you actually run out of product. And you look at all the different situations you can treat with this, because everybody thinks of foam as just a drain, a hole in the floor. Yeah, that's fine. You can put foaming agent down in there with the appropriate additives, and you can kill insects, you can dissolve grease and crud, you can keep things cleaned out. You can also use that same type of equipment maybe on the back of the dish line in a restaurant where you get all the grease and crud on the wall. You go ahead and foam that down, and all that grease and crud and garbage will start to dissolve, provided you have the right mix in that foamer. The other place you can use it is up behind those 3-part sinks where they stand out a little bit from the wall. You can foam those zones. You can foam the underside of stainless steel equipment. You can foam the wheel housings around equipment and take all the grease and the crud out of there. You can get back up behind that nasty ice machine. There's just so many places that a foam application makes sense. But that PowerCart 2000 is a pretty good size unit. And some people may say, well, gosh, I don't have that much real estate available on my truck. Maybe I've got a smaller vehicle. Or maybe you're going, I don't use a foamer on my business a lot, but I need to have one for the few accounts that I have that I may want to try it. So you could step down and go to something like Gardner's new foamer. Because Gardner Corporation, the people that make the fly machines for us, also have a wonderful little manually powered foamer. And it's got a gauge on it so you can pump it up to full power, and it works beautifully as long as you keep it pressurized, and you can pick it up and carry it around wherever you want to. And it's a handy little piece of equipment with a hose on it. It's got a wand. You can guide it up underneath things, and you can use it much in the way as a power cart, but you're doing it in a far less expensive unit. But it's an option. And in some cases, companies may have both, because they may grab the heavy-duty piece of equipment for one type of work and then take the small one for something else, or maybe for residential. But it doesn't end there, because you can go even smaller. Birchmeier has a fabulous little handheld foamer that is just wonderful, not only for what we do, but also as something that a client might buy. And I've seen restaurant groups that have purchased the Birchmeier foamers because it doesn't have a lot of hoses and attachments. It doesn't have all the excess equipment. It's simply the container, the pump housing, and a short hose or a little foaming tip. And it's beautiful for going behind dish rings and up underneath things and just foaming them down as part of the regular cleaning process that a facility might have in their day-to-day work. So in other words, we can partner with the client and they can have their foamer, we have ours for other areas, and our two teams working together can get things cleaned up, because the cleaner and more sanitary that restaurant facility is, the easier it is to deal with the introductions of pests that take place. Because remember, we don't deal with introductions. We can't keep things from coming in. We deal with preventing infestations. And a clean facility that's well kept, it's very easy to knock these things out before it becomes an infestation problem. And these small foamers from Birchmeier are ideal for a client. And in fact, when I work with PMPs in the field, that's the small unit that I'll take sometimes, because I don't use them every day and I want to go in and do some work with a PMP and aid him in what he's doing, get some pictures, get some documentation, get some field time in with these new young guns that are taking over the industry. And that small foamer from Birchmeier serves me very, very well. So that's 3 different choices. But it doesn't end there. There's a company called Aerofog, and they make micro foamers. Now, you talk about a super slick piece of equipment that now you can foam the tiny little places. And I just left a facility this morning that had tiny little places that needed foam. And that little tiny foamer, the micro unit from Aerofog, is fabulous for getting into those. You've got the needle tips, different lengths, different thicknesses. You can put those on there and you can push that foam into tiny cracks and crevices and just dissolve all that crud that may be hanging between a piece of stainless steel and the wood backing behind it. You couldn't get into it any other way, but these micro foamers will do it. So there are choices out there for the equipment. Now, as with any piece of equipment, a lot of people have told me, oh, I don't like foamers, they clog up. Okay, when was the last time you serviced your foamer? Because common sense tells me if I'm out using my equipment, I'm done at the end of the day, I'm going to transfer the material out into a caddy, and then I'm going to clean out my applicator system, because that way it's going to last. You don't want these foamers getting all clogged up with material, and they will if you don't keep them cleaning. But if you keep them clean, service them every day, it just takes a few minutes, and you're guaranteed the next time you pick it up, it's going to perform as you expected. The same people that tell me, well, I don't like to clean my equipment, that's too difficult, it adds too many hours to my day. Whatever. Those same people have beautifully clean firearms and beautifully clean fishing equipment that they use every weekend. When they get done fishing, particularly in salt water, or when they get back from the range or out hunting, you know what? They clean the tackle and they clean the guns. Why wouldn't we do that to the equipment that pays for all that stuff? Keep up the foamers and they will take care of you and your business in a fabulous manner. Now, as far as what to put in the foamers, I think the most common foaming compound that most people use, at least what I see in the field, is ProFoam from Nisus. And that material you can mix with just about anything to go ahead and make a foam application. I think the most common cocktail would be a mixture of the Nibor D, possibly some DSV, both of those materials from Nisus and ProFoam. And there are specific recipes that you can get right from Nisus depending upon the situation that you're dealing with. Another foaming product that I really like and I use quite a bit is the Gardner Fruit Fly Spray. Now that material is a 25B exempt compound that cleans beautifully. It's also labeled for food handling surfaces, and man, does it dissolve crud. And that's really what we need to have, and you don't need a foaming agent with it. It foams all by itself when mixed in the proper ratios in a foamer. So there's just a few things that you can use with that foamer to give you a greater degree of success. And if you're doing these commercial accounts and doing these restaurants, I really do encourage you to introduce their team to the use of foam with a small foamer like that Birchmeier, and that becomes something they do for regular maintenance within the restaurant. Because the facilities I see that do that, the area behind the dish ring is pristine. It's all nice and white, the tile is clean, there's no more crud buildup, because they got into the habit of foaming those areas every single night during normal cleaning, and it keeps things cleaned up. If you go back years ago, that's exactly how meat rooms used to be cleaned in production facilities and businesses such as Sam's, where they cut meat, and in grocery stores where they cut meat. Of course, a lot of that now that it's prepackaged and you don't have that anymore. But those foaming systems were designed to clean and were used every day. And if restaurants will do that with proper controls in the areas where it gets really cruddy, what you're going to have is a far better partner for yourself. And those small foamers are like $50, $60, so it's not an expensive piece of equipment, and they're very, very field durable, and they're easy to clean as well. So there's another option for you, the use of foam, and this is one separate area we looked at with commercial accounts such as restaurants. You know what? You can also take that foaming system into a residential account or any other type of account you have where you're trying to get a product into an area and dust or liquid just doesn't do it quite right, but foam will. So take a look at the foamers, a variety of price ranges to look at, and you have manufacturer support from all of these firms that want to see you be more successful in your business. So this is Jeff McGovern, the Pest Coach, and Frank, I'll sign off for now and turn it back to you. You folks have a great day.
We hope you have enjoyed this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. Have a pestacular day.
Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.